this points out the arrogance of humanity to even formulate this question. If there's no man standing in the woods to hear the tree fall, does it make a sound? I wasn't there. Man wasn't there to hear it.
Stop with this.
Because that's how it sounds to me. Like, so arrogant. What the?
Would you, could you?
Would you, could you? Believe it now. A podcast about strange journeys, hidden truths, and wild beliefs. With Sammy.
And Rob. Well, we are here with another episode of Would You, Could You, Believe It Now with Rob.
And Sammy.
Today we're going to be talking about one of Sammy's favorite things, plant consciousness.
Plant consciousness.
So, I don't know, recently people were like, lobsters can't feel that. Oh, wait, yes, they can feel that when you're boiling them alive.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people were asking questions about the plants, though. So
yeah, well, wasn't there a certain country that was like, okay, you can no longer boil lobsters alive, you must kill them first?
One of the more forward-thinking countries in the EU, yes.
Switzerland or something, Sweden, Denmark.
So this one's about plants, one of Sammy's favorites, so she loves them. Yeah. We're going to talk about if they have consciousness, do they communicate, right? Wow. Are they sentient beings? Can they make decisions? Maybe
they definitely do,
but we'll talk about it. She's more convincing me on this one, but I live with her long enough, so
yes, in terms of plant consciousness, I absolutely, without any doubts in my mind, believe that they are absolutely conscious and aware to the same level that humans and animals are. I don't think it operates in the same way, but I absolutely believe they are intelligent, conscious, aware, make choices, they feel things. 100% believe that, and I have for a very long time.
So
where do you stand, though?
I thought that they just they're definitely living things. But, sure. You see them get a little wrinkly. You're like, okay, they need water, so they have like an appearance and they seem to be living.
Well, they're definitely alive. Biologically, they're alive.
I mean, and the other thing is like when grass is cut, when you like mow a lawn, like that smell smells so good, but it's actually the lawn screaming. I didn't know that.
Well, it's the plants reacting to what's happening to them. Yeah.
So I have like that is like the extent of my baseline on, do plants have consciousness? I mean, do they send message? Do they send like little text messages? They
literally do. Yes.
So
that's what the screaming is.
Well, if I were to see like if there was like a glass panel and then you could see like all the roots, in there, I feel like I'd be like, oh wow, I've had maybe I'd be like, okay, but I know there's roots, and I know there's something going on down there, but I can't
see it
really
to believe it, guy.
It.
We're gonna have a whole episode on perception. I think we're gonna do that. We're gonna probably the next episode we're gonna talk about synesthesia and perception, and
it's decided already.
Just because it's needed, we have to.
Yeah.
It plays into everything that we talk about. I feel like comes down to perception.
But that's where I'm at.
Especially when it comes to belief.
That's where I'm at with this.
Okay. So you're like, maybe.
I mean, decision making, I don't really know about that. Can they like relocate themselves?
Yeah, there's a lot of anecdotal stories.
So like my tree could move from here to over there because it wants a little more sun.
People have claimed that well, they do move. They will move. Mm-hmm. They lean at a minimum. They lean. I have a ponytail palm tree that's in our bathroom that has been slowly leaning away from the shower. I'm guessing the steam is maybe too much, and it leans. And then I have a bunch of plants that are also in the bathroom that are in like these little cutout cabinets, like shelves. All of them are leaning towards the windows. All of them.
I have noticed the lean.
Yeah, it's pretty normal, and it is something we'll touch on here, but they will, as they're trying to get sun.
You know what else too? There's a if we're gonna info dump here for a second. I don't know who
the whole point of this podcast.
I don't know who watches this,
Dump.
but really random. There's a golden barrel cactus that is like, I don't know if it's native to here, but there's people around here have a lot of them.
Yeah.
They're like they're these barrels, right? And so I'm like looking at it and I'm like, hey, this thing hasn't grown in a while. And so I go to Google it and it's like very slow growing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how would I know that it wouldn't be doing well? You know what I mean? Because there's so many plants and stuff turns brown and black and like all this stuff. So I was like, does this turn brown and black or whatever? And the main factor in determining if the cactus is doing well is if it's not facing north.
Oh, interesting.
Or south?
How do you know which way its face? Is it a lean?
Yeah, it has a little lean to it. I'm like, and so I got like the compass on my iPhone and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, damn, it's pointed that way. I was like, it must be in good shape. And I'm like, wow, that's really weird. It was either north or south. I don't know what it was. But that was like the one thing.
Verify it.
It was the...
we should be verifying everything.
We should. Yeah, I mean, we're just like, whatever. People are just listening to us. But golden...
I feel like we need to look up which country.
Cactus. Signs of dying. Let me look. Hold on 1 second. We'll cut this up maybe. Sorry.
Switzerland. I was right. Switzerland is the country that said no more boiling lobsters. I just wanted to come back and make sure we answered that. Okay. All right, because we got to get into this. We don't have.
I know.
It's 11:11.
Gold.
Make a wish. I'm the one yawning today, so I'm gonna have to leave some of them in.
Okay. It should be south. It grows slanted in the direction of the south.
If it's healthy.
Yep. This is due to the fact that
So you're right. If it points north, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is due to the fact that the northern side in the cactus is somewhat protected from the sun. It grows faster than the south side.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So
really
if
cool.
It's leaning north, it's getting too much sun, possibly? Or it's just not, there's something wrong?
Not necessarily like growing correctly, growing right. Maybe it's not.
That there could be several things to look at.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whoops. Dropped my phone. Sorry. Let's get into this. I want to talk about, when it comes to plant consciousness, this is really, really depends which culture you're coming from here, as always. Okay. So if we're speaking from the like white Western point of view, plants would not be conscious. But as Rob very early on pointed out, these same people didn't think lobsters were conscious. And so they were boiling them alive, hearing them scream, thinking, I can't feel it. Also, these same people didn't think that non-white people were fully conscious, okay? They didn't think that dogs and cats were conscious. They had people enslaved and used to experiment on them, thinking that they couldn't feel pain because they weren't as conscious as the fair-skinned humans. So I just want to caveat this whole thing that when we're talking about the Western civilization and where they stand on consciousness, they don't have a good track record. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of weight in how they think about this either. Not that I'm dismissing entirely the scientific method. I'm not. I do think there's good things in it, but I'm not going to forget that horrific history and think that we should just keep on trusting them, because I don't think we should. Yeah. Because lobsters are definitely sentient. And only, when was it? When Switzerland's the first... I
don't know, but yeah, so...
Hang on.
I'm just trying to say something about the scientific method.
No. I just want to... 2018, okay? Switzerland, I believe, is the first country ever to outlaw boiling live lobsters. And they didn't do this until 2018. 2018, we just finally figured out, oh, you know what? We're kind of being jerks to the lobsters.
I can't believe it.
You know what I mean? So there is a lot of criticisms about whether or not plants are conscious, but it's coming from Western philosophy. So I'm like, I'm not going to put a lot of stock into it. I'm just being really honest. Again, this is what I say in terms of research and who you're listening to, don't expect someone that's reporting something to you to not have any bias, because they do. They're human. And if they're saying they don't, they're lying. But whoever's reporting to you, they should at least state what their bias is. So I'm letting you know my bias is not with the Western ideologies. I don't like the history, so I'm going to lean away from that a little bit. Towards the sun. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
In the southern direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you want to say, though?
I was just trying to say that the scientific method was a pretty good resource and still remains a good resource for people to advance, but it does lack. It's just not useful for other things.
It can, well, here's the thing. It can be useful, and I think the scientific method can expand to include some of these things, but it's the people operating it. So that's why I'm like, I'm not really coming for the scientific method, but rather the people that use it and are not willing to let it grow and evolve. That's my issue.
I just feel like all this weird stuff, no one's wanted to touch it with any kind of like research brain.
Well, and then when someone does, they attack them viciously, which is what I'm going to get into.
Okay.
So the first thing, again, I always use ChatGPT just to help me gather the information. I always ask it to share resources. And this time, too, I haven't always done this, but I'm like, you know what? Don't use Wikipedia. Work a little harder. Yeah. So
make it sweat.
Yeah, some of the first things getting into, and I was just saying, okay, can you please share some research with me about plant consciousness, like what's being done? So it came back with evidence suggesting plant sentience and communication. We have electrical signaling and bioelectric responses. That's something I've known about for a while. I think science has known about for a while.
What is it?
Electrical signaling and bioelectric responses.
Can you bring that down a little bit?
I'm about to read the explanation. Okay. Research has demonstrated that plants like Mimosa pudica exhibit electrical responses to stimuli. For instance, studies have shown that plants can respond to human movement and even differentiate between individuals and emotional states based on electrostatic interactions.
So, what's an example of that?
Well, electrical signaling, we know that they use electricity, like they send electric impulses through, like when like water photosynthesis, it'll go down into the roots, and impulses will be sent out to other nearby root systems, as well as the mycorrhizal network underneath. That's like fungus.
Okay.
And the fungus will take some of it and carry it to other root systems as well, of neighboring plants.
Right.
So they have a lot of electrical impulses. Actually, maybe at some point I do have the plant wave box, and we can connect it and we can hear my plants singing. And it's doing that because it's picking up on those electrical impulses in the leaves, which it's like water and sun as the plant is doing photosynthesis. It's like pulsing, and if you look closely on a leaf, there's little veins. It's carrying water and nutrients similar to ours. Not quite the same. It's not blood. It's different things in there, but there's electrical impulses. So they do have electrical impulses going through them, just like we do through our bodies. Now, they don't have a nervous system like we do, but that doesn't mean that they aren't conscious. And so this is what a lot of Western philosophers and scientists have said. Well, they don't have a nervous system, so they can't be conscious. Again, we don't know what consciousness is, so how the hell are you going to say that a plant can't be conscious? We have not found anything that determines that consciousness is being created by a nervous system. Or have you seen that TV show? I missed that article, that peer-reviewed study.
Have you seen that TV show Beef?
Yeah.
It's so funny because like when they turn into rocks, when they're having like a near-death experience or whatever, funny. And like they're just like conscious. That like drove me to the next level. My brain just turned into like absolute like.
That was funny. That's like, a good show.
Dust.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you think about it, like plants probably have consciousness. Like what else are we? What else are we not looking at?
We'll look at rocks and crystals because there's this whole industry based on that, and there's actually some interesting research on it.
We'll have to do a crystal one too. I don't really.
That's what you said.
Yeah, I don't really get it. I kind of get it, but then I don't really get it.
We'll help you.
We'll
help you.
I went to school.
Me and the plants.
Yeah.
We'll help you. Okay.
What is that?
So chemical communication and memory. Plants have been observed to communicate distress signals through chemical means. That's what you were talking about with cutting grass.
Right.
For example, sagebrush can warn neighboring plants of herbivore attacks, prompting them to bolster their defenses.
Help, it's eating me. Run. What
Literally.
is it?
Well, no, what they do, there's a book that I was reading, The Hidden Life of Plants?
Hidden Life of Trees.
Hidden Life of Trees. It's a very good book. This is another book I'm reading right now about plants called Braiding Sweetgrass. And I'm using a packet of seeds as my bookmark.
My cucumbers.
It's your cucumbers and my cucumbers now. So, very good book. I suggest reading it. And it goes into indigenous wisdom and scientific knowledge and the teaching of plants. It's a good book. But in The Hidden Life of Trees, very good book as well, the author talks about the warning system that trees have. So yeah, if a bug comes along and starts chomping and nibbling on one of the leaves, it starts to release a chemical which has an odor that then gets carried by the wind to the nearby trees. Once those trees detect it, they too start producing this chemical. The chemical tastes bad to the bug, and the bug goes and then tries to move on to the next tree. But the tree next door has already been warned and is now also producing the same chemical. So the bug will take a bite out of that tree and goes, tries to fly to the next one. And as it keeps going down, the scent keeps blowing down to the rest of the trees. So they absolutely communicate and warn each other.
Damn, I feel bad for the bug, honestly. How are you supposed to eat with that kind of system?
Would probably have to fly to a further away.
Fly to my garden.
Yeah. Well, it'd have to travel to a different plant system.
Eat my tomatoes.
Yeah. And you got some food off the first one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, get a little nibble, you know?
But plants do this. There's even, plants that they have systems to protect themselves. Like, we go out in our yard, there's a couple plants that have thorns on them, right? It's to keep you off of them. If I go to cut my roses, I got to be careful. I'll scratch myself. Like
True.
That's a defense system. They arguably have better defense systems than we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've let some crazy people go way too close to me. I wish I had some thorns. Okay, so yeah, plants have been observed to communicate distress signals through chemical means. Rob, phone on silent.
I am so
Oh my goodness, you'd think it was day one.
Oh my goodness.
Additionally, experiments with the Mimosa pudica, I don't know if I'm saying that right, I never do, suggest that plants can remember stimuli as they stop closing their leaves in response to repeated non-harmful disturbances.
We want to definitely say the researcher's name, Dr. Monica Gagliano.
I know. We're not there yet. I will get to her.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure she got the credit.
Rob, do you think that I've had her study bookmark on my computer for a solid year, maybe a year and a half.
It's happening again.
Yeah.
Getting roasted.
Well, you're being dumb. I went off on a whole rant and made you watch an entire documentary on her.
I told you about this lady.
No, you did not.
I didn't.
I made him watch an entire documentary and he retained. Okay, they also have acoustic sensitivity and response. Some studies propose that plants can detect and respond to sound vibrations. For instance, plants exposed to recordings of caterpillar munching sounds have been found to produce defense chemicals in anticipation of actual herbivore attacks. Yeah, doesn't that sound cool?
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Quick,
Well,
munching.
and there's lots of anecdotal and some research studies too that when you say nice things to your plants or play music for them, especially if you play live for them, they grow better.
They do.
They do much better, and they might even grow towards you. Like they might have a lean. And I rotate my plant to make sure one side isn't getting more sun than another. So I wouldn't notice. It grows pretty straight, which I think, again, is an indication that I'm caring for it properly. It doesn't need to have a lean. But there's some studies, too, that, well, I don't know, studies, I think it's anecdotal, that a plant will lean towards their person if they stay in the same spot. So
pretty weird. Yeah. But yeah, the apple thing, too. I mean, if you, it's with apples, too. Like, if you start calling the apple a little troublemaker, a little, whatever. Yeah, they just like rot quicker.
They rot faster. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of studies like that.
I think they do that with water too.
Yeah, actually, I was just looking at that yesterday. I forget the name of the researcher, but it was a study that had been done, and it's been repeated a lot too. That when so if you speak to water and then you freeze it and then you look at the crystal formations, When you say negative things, the formations are all jagged and rough and they're nonsensical. When you say nice, pleasant things, they'll have these beautiful, intricate patterns that are balanced, and
that is
they look
actually
like perfect
weird.
snowflakes.
That is actually very weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we tried it. We tried different things, and we haven't done it a ton. I don't have the best setup for it, but we should do more. It is very fascinating, which, suggests a lot of things about what we say to each other, because our bodies are mostly water. I think it's like 70% water, our bodies. So if water can pick up on vibrations and change in that way, like if the molecule can change like that, then it does suggest we should be careful about what we say to each other and ourselves, what we think about ourselves.
Do you think that applies to like not only in person but over the phone and like on Zoom too?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Well, because isn't there like a physical like wave almost too, or is it like more of like a mental?
You could, excuse me.
Wow.
You could hear it through.
She's yawning today.
I know, but it's not from lack of interest. It's because I'm actually
Sammy,
tired.
and there's Rob.
The sound wave.
Right.
It still hits you through Zoom and telephone.
I don't know.
You can hear.
I don't know how it works.
We know. Plant neurobiology and cognitive behaviors. The emerging field of plant neurobiology explores the idea that plants exhibit behaviors akin to learning and decision making. While plants lack a nervous system, they utilize electrical and chemical signaling to process information and adapt to their environment. They definitely do that.
Yeah.
There's lots of skepticism, so now we're getting into philosophical and scientific debates. So some scientists argue that while plants display complex behaviors, they do not equate to consciousness as understood in animals. Critics point out that plant responses are often reactive and lack the proactive anticipatory behaviors associated with conscious experience. Okay, but there are studies that did find them to be anticipatory.
There are.
So the other thing, all right, I'm not going to say it yet.
Why not?
Okay, well, that was according to PubMed.
All right, yeah.
But my other thing is,
Here she goes.
if they're conscious,
goes.
Okay, think about, go to like your sophomore year high school, like math class, okay? Think about the various kids in the class and their intelligence levels. Just for a moment. Take the smartest kid out, take the dumbest kid out. Who's going to have better anticipatory responses?
The smarter kid. So
among human consciousness, you cannot study every human the same way. You cannot apply the same parameters to every single human. Different humans, especially if we're just looking at anticipatory ability, right? So someone's ability to anticipate, and that they are wanting to connect that to whether plants are conscious or not, whether like if they can anticipate something. I know humans that can't anticipate very well.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they're not paying attention. Do we get to say that they're not conscious?
No,
they're still conscious. My point is, they are trying to apply to all plants this like static baseline.
Oh.
Right. You get it? We can't even do that with humans. You cannot put all humans in one study of consciousness and say, well, this kid just like really wasn't paying attention, didn't demonstrate any signs of anticipating an incoming threat, so therefore we can't conclude whether or not he or she is conscious. But this kid could.
You know what this is reminding me of?
You can't say, oh, I guess people aren't really conscious then because this one kid we tested couldn't anticipate any incoming threats. That's the equivalent. Plants are so complex. There's so many different kinds. There's so many different species. And then even among one species, you could have a variety of intelligence.
I mean, look at the Venus flytrap. That thing has a mouth. Fly comes in, boom, closes. That's really
that's reactionary, not anticipatory.
Yeah,
anticipatory is like
guess.
Pavlov's dog, right? Where he rang a bell, gave the dog a cookie.
Right.
And then eventually he could ring the bell, never present the cookie, but the dog still salivated because the dog started to anticipate a cookie.
Mm-hmm.
So that correlation, the correlative anticipation, suggested to Pavlov that, oh, you know what? Humans do that, and we're conscious, so therefore dogs must be conscious. So, and that is what Monica Galliano,
yep.
That's her study. She basically recreated Pavlov's study on dogs, but did it for plants and found that the plants did seemingly respond to anticipatory to a potential light source, but she used a fan to stimulate instead. So she would turn a fan on the plant,
Right.
then give it sunlight.
Right.
So she did the same thing, but then she would take the sunlight away and just turn the fan on, would the plants start preparing to get sunlight. And she found that it did. But there is criticisms. I'll have to scroll down because now we're jumping ahead. Who was it?
Jumping ahead is okay.
Someone in particular. Oh, Casey Markle at UC Davis tried to replicate this but failed to reproduce the results. So, but she noted that differences in seed suppliers and fan brands could have influenced the outcomes.
Fan brands?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing.
I'm looking at
So Galliano, or Gagliano maybe? I'm not sure.
Gagliano.
Yeah, I think it's Gagliano.
You're really bad at it.
Well, I'm
pronouncing
going like the
Italian
Italian.
names.
Yeah, it's Monica Gagliano. She was using pea plants, so I don't know what plants Casey Markle was using.
Those are pretty sensitive.
But the point is, if you're using a different plant, or again, to the point, oh, maybe the seed matters. Yeah, maybe it matters if you're using a modified seed versus an organic one. That's going to change how it's able to respond.
Well, I mean, there's also just a lot of different variables.
There's a lot of different variables. And how would plants in a wild, more native setting versus in a potted indoor setting? Like, there's a lot of things. But they're not necessarily thinking of that. So the critics wanted to immediately say, oh, there's issues with Monica's study. There's no way. And she just wanted to see that. Mm-hmm. That's what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
That is just people responding to having their worldview challenged. Let's be really honest here. This is my opinion, so you don't have to believe me, but to me, that sounds like a lot of the critics. And I'm not saying not to criticize her work, because she could have had issues in her study, but people just jumping, no, she can't be rich. She just wanted that to be true. Okay, and you sound like you just want it not to be true because you don't want your paradigm to shift.
All that hard work for nothing.
Mm-hmm. They also,
Maybe.
There's a lot of debates. A lot of people don't like that Gagliano was using terms like learning and memory and cognition to describe the plants. They're saying that she is anthropomorphizing the plants. Now, she defends herself and says, okay, if there's a chance that they are conscious, we must use the same terms so that we can compare these studies. She's like, if we're ever going to find their consciousness, if they are conscious and we're going to find it, she's arguing we do need to use similar terms. We do need to use similar studies that we did on dogs, that we've done on humans, to determine this, so that there is now comparison. If it's too different, we won't be able to compare it, and then you guys will never admit that they're conscious.
Well, and if they're different, we start off getting into like UFO, UAP, there's, you just confusing everybody with all these terms for one thing, or a group of things.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
You know
that
what
they
I mean?
want to have different terminology because they don't want it to be compared. They don't want it.
Let's make it as confusing as possible and come up with these plant consciousness terminology that no one's ever going to use or relate to anything else.
I hear ya. So for further reading, ChatGPT brought up 2 books. It's Michael Pollan's The Intelligent Plant, an article discussing Gagliano's work and the broader debate on plant intelligence, and then Zoe Schlanger's The Light Eaters, a book exploring plant behaviors and the scientific discussions surrounding plant intelligence. I've not read either one of those. Also, Monica Gagliano has a book, Thus Spoke the Plant. I would like to read.
I have a question.
What? What's your question?
If plants have consciousness,
mm-hmm.
which you're saying they probably do.
I 100% believe it.
Okay, you're saying it's real.
Yeah.
Let's say we cut a tree down.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Is that tree still conscious? Or is it like dead? Because like if a person dies, right? We know there's no pulse, right? Heart's not going.
Well, we don't have an answer. This is still just goes into belief territory because we don't have data. If we're trying to use the scientific method to answer that question, it's I don't know, because scientific method has not been able to find signs of life outside of the body. But it's because the scientific method has been developed based on materialism and realism and reductionism.
We're going to have to do another one because I'm really curious. Because if you're like vegetarian by choice and you're like, well, I don't want to kill animals. And then all of a sudden you're like, the asparagus has a brain. You know, you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah,
you just
are
ate
causing
a whole
harm.
salad full of consciousness. What did you just do? You know.
Well, exactly though. But so here's the thing. I have a viewpoint on this. When it comes down to that, because I've had this conversation with people where they realized, oh my gosh, plants are alive. So I thought I was doing something good by not eating meat.
Right.
When you understand, this is where we're getting into animism, which I would consider myself, I think it's an animist.
Animism?
Yeah. Animism.
Okay.
Which is the belief that everything has some amount of consciousness in it.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Even a little.
Even what?
Even a little bit. Like a rock will have a little.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or like the floor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything comes from Earth. And I think Earth is as a whole conscious, which is why everything made from Earth is also conscious.
Except for airheads, those things are pretty not natural.
They come still derived from chemicals from the Earth. There's very few things we have that didn't come from Earth directly, which have come off of meteorites and comets.
Whoa. You're messing me up.
But then
you're making me think.
Earth at some point could have been a mashup of different comets and meteor. Yeah, that's a different conversation. Right. Yeah, so
get back to it before my brain.
But the idea would be like the moon's conscious, the sun's conscious, comets, everything, the whole solar system conscious, all the planets, galaxy. Yeah, that's animism, which I do lean towards that. So, but we don't necessarily have the scientific method. Doesn't necessarily have ways to observe that consciousness, but we still have not been able to define human consciousness or know where it comes from or where it goes. Although, actually, we were just watching last night. What's the philosopher's name? It's analytical idealism.
Michael had him on the. It's Ben Refi.
No. Bernardo Kastrup.
Bernardo
Kastrup. So yeah, he's a philosopher, and he has his theory of analytical idealism, and that's kind of let me pull up a summary because I'm not going to explain it wrong. Okay, a theory of the nature of reality that maintains that the universe is experiential in essence. That does not mean that reality is in your or our individual minds alone, but instead a spatially unbound transpersonal field of subjectivity of which we are segments. So kind of like there's basically like one consciousness field and we're just like little break-offs of that.
Yeah.
Still a part of it though. So it's like being a piece of the whole.
Okay.
And he believes that we essentially disassociate from the whole to have our own unique experience, but that it's possible in this theory that we could access memories that are a part of the whole, which could explain things like telepathy and maybe even near-death experiences.
Could.
Yeah. That's what we're looking into. We're watching a YouTube episode. It was Third Eye Drops.
Third Eye Drops with
Bernardo Kastrup was
Michael, I forget his last name,
but he was interviewing Bernardo Kastrup on this. So really interesting ideas here. But again, so it kind of could lend itself towards that's idealism, not necessarily animism. I think Bernardo Kastrup would be like, no, it's not animism. To me, it feels similar. But how did we get on that? What were we? I think we got lost. We got sidetracked here.
I was asking you if plants, when they're cut down, were conscious.
Well, okay, so you would have to figure out at what point the consciousness begins. So because of the intricate root systems of trees, we don't know is if you cut it, does it die? Or do the roots stay alive? Because they have found trees in the woods, right, where the trees are a family system. Okay, they found that parent trees, like mother trees, feed their young, their saplings, through the root systems. They send electrical pulses. So when they drop their saplings, right, they drop seeds down, the saplings will sprout in the ground. The mother tree will send a root up and will send electrical pulses to the sapling to feed it. Because it's so little, it's not likely getting a lot of sun because the mother plant would be blocking a lot of the sunlight. So the mother feeds the baby tree. Okay, we got feeding their young. And so they have found that most of the trees nearby are likely related to all the other trees. Like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. They drop seeds. Okay, sure. Apple
Right.
doesn't fall far from the tree.
Right.
It'll sprout another apple tree. So they've found, I think this was in The Hidden Life of Trees. I think it was in The Hidden Life of Trees, where the author talks about finding a stump that's been kept alive by the surrounding trees. They continue to feed the stump. So you have to ask, we see that and think, oh, it must be dead. There's no leaves. There's no, oh, geez.
Oh my goodness.
This isn't usually that close to me.
Keep the hands down.
They'll think, okay, it's not alive anymore. It's been cut down, but then the nearby trees are still feeding it. And then you'll see moss growing, and sometimes another tree can grow right up through it. So we don't know. I don't think we can answer that. I don't think we can say for sure. Some people will definitely, like, cut down a tree, they try to put killer down, and they'll say, yeah, it could still be alive even though we cut it. That unless you really remove it or put some type of killer down, like, the roots could keep growing. So that's not an easy to answer question, but again, it stems from the fact that we have not studied it enough. So we cannot use a scientific method to answer these questions.
Yeah.
Which is why I looked up what indigenous cultures say. And we can get to that next.
And the author of The Hidden Life of Trees is Peter Wohlleben, it looks like.
Yeah, that's a really good book.
Wohlleben. And we know it's a good book not only because Sammy said it.
Yeah, I read it.
But it's like $7 on audiobook with the membership, which is nuts. We
It
don't
might even be on Spotify.
we don't get a cut of this, but it is a really good book to read.
We're not popular enough yet to have.
I don't know if we'll ever be popular enough for that, but
Cool.
you think so?
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Also, say hi to Brazil. We have a lot of people watching us from Brazil.
From Brazil, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think that's cool too.
That's awesome.
Hi.
That's
Thanks for
awesome.
watching. Keep watching.
Would definitely love to
Okay.
talk to anyone who is in Barhenia.
Brazil? Yeah, we should do an episode on that.
That would be cool.
Yeah, we will. Well, become members, and then you can request special episodes. So if there's something that you really want to hear about, let us know.
Please let us know about
Yeah.
Nessie.
Even if you're not a member, you can also put a suggestion in the comments, and we will do our best to get to
She
it.
won't let me do Nessie yet.
He has to earn. You have to earn, Nessie. You gotta yawn a lot less. Okay, so I just wanted to bring up some of the criticisms of Gagliano's work.
Bring him up.
So again, we have Casey Markle, who attempted to replicate her study 2016. And he noted that the plants in his study did not consistently grow toward the light. Oh, yeah, so she had an assumption that plants will automatically grow towards light, which I think anecdotally, yeah. I think almost everyone that's had a plant has seen at least one or two plants, like they'll lean towards the light.
Yeah.
Not always necessarily. And so this is what Markle said, that not all of his plants automatically grew toward the light, and said that could have been a flaw in Gagliano's work to make that assumption, because it might depend on the plant, which is a fair point to say that, are you making too broad of an assumption about how plants work? So maybe perhaps pea plants do behave that way, but it might not be even across the board, and it might depend on the way an individual plant species prioritizes certain nutrients.
Perhaps.
If they're more likely to favor nutrients coming from the root systems, right, then maybe they don't rely as much on sunlight, especially some plants that are like bottom jungle plants where they're underneath the tree canopy, so they're not going to get that much sunlight. They might have another resource that they prioritize more heavily, that they're going to work harder on those. What?
You have a dog hair that's like right. Okay, got it.
Thank you. So I think that's a fair point, in which case you would just want to prove based off whichever plant you're working with, like, is this true for this plant at least? So I'm not sure what Markle used.
Okay.
But again, I think this shows that you cannot make an assumption of all plants based off of a few plants. So
Because it's like, is Sammy good at basketball?
right.
I don't
Oh
know,
yeah, you could study
but-
me. Oh, you could even study my entire family, right? You could study my whole family and have a pretty decent sample size. It's a big family. And
Massive.
odds are none of us are going to be good at basketball. So if you took us and said, oh, are humans good at basketball? Well, we sampled 145 people. all related to me. No. None of them.
Or baldness too. You could like sample a whole family and be like, well, when they turn this age, they just lose all the hair on the top of their head. So
humans bald after a certain age. Yeah. But it's like, well, that's just the genetics of my particular family. We just don't happen to carry a gene that would make us good at that. You cannot apply that to all humans just because you sampled my family. So I think that's kind of, again, here, you can't apply that. That doesn't mean that we don't have consciousness or that consciousness is connected to basketball. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that the way they're thinking about a lot of this is really small, which is kind of how Gagliano's defended herself, to be like, guys, come on, you gotta broaden, you gotta loosen up a little bit here. You're thinking so small, so tight.
They're such smart people.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. There's also criticism on the design of her experiment, and philosophical and conceptual critiques. Mm-hmm. But again, Gagliano's perspective. In response to these criticism, Gagliano maintains that using consistent terminology across biological kingdoms is essential for comparative studies, which, I can see that. Okay, but now I want to get into indigenous cultures worldwide and what they believe about plants. Worldwide. So, as you can probably guess, they're like, yeah, no, they're alive. They're alive. Yep. This had come up, I think I had shared this in a TikTok. You've heard that question, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound?
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
Philosophers love this question and like to posit that, well, no, if there's no observer, then it can't make a sound. We wouldn't know. You can assume that it both makes a sound and doesn't make a sound.
Big sigh.
This question is so stupid to me now.
Why is it stupid?
The tree is there. There's other plants. There's other animals. To me, this points out the arrogance of humanity to even formulate this question. If there's no man standing in the woods to hear the tree fall, does it make a sound? I wasn't there. Man wasn't there to hear it.
Stop with this.
Because that's how it sounds to me. Like, so arrogant. What the hell? The tree can hear itself fall. The tree can experience its own fall. It's having a lived experience completely separate from man. It's so dumb. There's animals. We know animals are conscious. Probably a bird was like, oh, tree down. Watch out, everyone. A squirrel probably like, oh my God. Trying to get out of the way. Like, there's other life. There's other life. That question stems from such small, tiny, arrogant thinking of a man.
Asinine.
It's...
Can you do your man voice again? Because that was pretty good.
It's my man voice. Apologies to some men, not all of you. Whoever posed this question, I want to know now.
She sent me a meme the other day, and it's like when my husband, when my husband complains that I'm mean to him, but he's
the only man I've ever been nice to. I don't know what you're complaining about. Yeah.
So funny.
No.
It was like a picture of Piglet or something.
I want to find out.
Memes. Gotta love those memes online.
I want to find out what dumbass came up with this. George Berkeley.
Ew. All right, can we go back to the...
no, I'm not. Philosopher George Berkeley. I'm not done hating on him yet.
George Berkeley.
Just take a guess. What does he look like?
Let me see. Probably bald right here, and then kind of like salt, peppery hair, like on the edge. Maybe.
Look at him.
Oh wow.
I will share. I'm gonna have to put a screenshot in.
Yeah. Cool.
This guy right here.
He just sat in a room all day.
He thought he did something.
Yeah.
He thought he did something real smart.
Well, I mean, everyone's
falls in the woods.
Everyone's repeating it. I mean, they don't know his name though. So
George Berkeley.
He had some kind of impact.
That's the asshole right here. Found him. Okay.
Did he say anything else good?
I don't care.
No.
He said that one dumb thing. I've written him off. Okay, so I hate this question. I think that's so stupid. And again, it's just so small to think that a human has to be there for a tree to have a legitimate experience. Okay. Getting into indigenous perspectives on plant consciousness. So this is the Raramuri, Tarahumara, northern Mexico. Apologies for saying this wrong. I should really start asking ChatGPT to give me the phonetical phrasing. Sorry.
You should find out yourself out of respect.
Raramuri. I find out how to say. Raramuri. Raramuri. Okay, Raramuri people. So the Raramuri people embrace a concept known as Iwigara, which embodies the belief that all life shares a common breath and spirit. Animism. This philosophy underscores the interconnectedness of humans, plants, animals, and the environment, fostering a kinship that guides their interactions with nature. Such beliefs are integral to their cultural identity and practices.
Okay.
Let's have the Makushi and Matsijenka people from the Amazon basin. Plants are considered persons, possessing a vital essence called iketan, akin to a soul. This belief influences their medicinal practices, where the sensory properties of plants are seen as expressions of their personhood. Similarly, the Matsijenka recognize certain plants, especially those that are toxic or psychoactive, as being with spirits, acknowledging their agency and consciousness. So this is a really interesting thing. We've heard this a lot from Amazonian tribes, their relationship to plants. Especially, you hear a lot of people like, oh yeah, I went into the Amazon, had an ayahuasca experience. They do have a rich connection with plants, and something that, again, was another kind of concept that I realized was, I think like when we're taught about human history and what plants are safe or not, we just kind of imagine, I think we're told this and we imagine that, oh, there were people way back when that experimented with plants and they ate one and they're like, oh, no, Bob died from eating this plant. Now we know it's poisonous. Thank you, Bob, for your sacrifice. Okay, but then when you look at indigenous cultures, especially coming out of the Amazon, they're like, no. And we're like, okay, well, how do you know which plants you can eat or not? They say, the plants tell us. They talk to the plants, and the plants tell them, yeah, don't eat me. I will kill you.
Where they go to pick it, and then it just kind of like flinches a little?
Well, they're very in tune with the plants. They also are in tune with the animals. And so there's a natural instinct that when you are living in nature every day, all the time, for centuries, that the human is in sync with the nature and can pick up on the communications. And so if you do pay attention, you can kind of tell what plants are going to be okay for you. There's certain colors where there's like warning colors, or there's little like bristles, and you can see like, oh yeah, if I go interact with that plant right now, it will harm me. It will harm me. Where this one, no, I'm fine. You can kind of see. Now, not all plants. Please don't go out into the woods near your house and start eating any plant. Don't do that. Because you could get really sick. Mostly because we've been forced indoors and we're pretty separate from nature. So we don't presently have those sensitivities anymore to be able to pick up on this. But a lot of indigenous cultures have kept it. And this is what they say. Like, no, we weren't just roughing it out there and seeing what plants killed us or made us throw up. They were told. They say, the plants told us. The plants said, you're sick, take a little bit of this. Don't do it too much, just a little bit. This one will make you trip balls. This one, you're going to have an experience. So, you want an experience? Eat this one. Don't touch that one. Like, that the plants were, like, guiding them, which I think is really interesting. And from my own personal experiences with synesthesia, I will have an experience if I get really quiet and I'm calm and I meditate and then I sit with my plant. I can tune into it and I will get information off the plant. And so a lot of people say, yeah, you can have telepathy with plants. And I've experimented with it. Now, this is anecdotal. It's just my experience, like my personal experience. This isn't done in a study session. So
Can't be proven.
if you come from Western philosophy and you want a scientific method, I don't have that for you. Go somewhere else. But my own anecdotal experience is, yes, I get information off my plants, and they'll tell me, hey, you need to do this for me. I had one plant in particular where I had followed what someone told me to do with the plant, but it wasn't doing well, and I just like wasn't sure what was wrong. And I hadn't ever looked it up. I just did what the person at the plant store told me to do. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't doing well. So I meditated with the plant, and I was like, what am I doing? And I just saw like fire, like red, just drowning it. I'm like, oh, I'm giving you too much sun. I'm burning you to death. Like, that's what I got. And so I immediately took it out of the sun, and after a couple of days, it started to look better. And so then I couldn't remember what the name of the plant was, so I had to Google it. I finally identified it and then looked up how much sun. Absolutely checked out. I was giving it way too much sun. I was burning it. Wow. Yeah. And I've done this a few times. That's just one example, but I've done this a few times with various plants where before I look it up to see like what do experts on the internet say about how to take care of the plant, I'll first sit with it and see what I get, and then go look it up to verify it. So I know for a lot of people that like the scientific method, they're going to say, well, you could have been exposed to that information before. You can't say that's telepathy.
We got
what you got to do.
We got the Sammy-tific method over here.
Yeah, well, I can only go off of my own anecdotes in this world. Like I don't have the means to set up a lab and experiment every time I have my own experience. Wait, I can't believe it until I verify it in a scientific setting. I don't have the resources to do that, so I will base things off of my own experiences. But there are a lot of anecdotes. I'm not the only one having this experience.
If something happened to me, I'd believe it, no matter what anyone else said. So
if you had the experience, that would be enough for you.
Yeah, if like a alien came down on my driveway and was like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" I'm like, I'm like,
they're real,
man. Everyone's like, no, and I'm like, but really? I saw
You wouldn't be worried that someone said, "Oh, but that was like a secret military agency that created a fake alien and landed him in your."
Why are they making the fake aliens?
That's what
you know what I mean.
I was
just like, what is that?
That's what some people think.
Where my tax dollars go?
Okay, let's keep going. So the Maori worldview is rooted in Wakapepa or Papa, a genealogical framework that connects all living and non-living entities, plants, animals, humans, and even elements like rocks, rivers are considered descendants of primordial ancestors, establishing a familiar relationship that commands respect and care. Okay. Aboriginals, they have a quote here.
What else?
Aboriginal Australian cultures often perceive plants as sentient beings with consciousness. Elder Bill Neji eloquently expresses this belief. Tree, he watching you. You look at tree, he listened to you. He got no finger, he can't speak. But that leaf, this is a translation, that's what it sounds like. He pumping, growing in the night. Such perspectives are embedded in the dreaming, a foundational concept that interweaves the spiritual, natural, and human worlds. We covered that last time in our dream episode, that the Aboriginal people have something called the dreaming, where, again, they believe that it's like an actual place that everyone can go, which is very interesting.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Thanks for breaking that down.
The Haudenosaunee people, or Iroquois, from North America. The Haudenosaunee people, actually, I believe... Braiding Sweetgrass, she talks about the Haudenosaunee people.
Really? Is it in the index?
Probably. Here, look for it. While I read this.
How do you spell it?
Haudenosaunee. You'll know when you see it. So the Haudenosaunee people hold that the land and its components possess consciousness. Their traditions emphasize a harmonious relationship with nature, recognize plants as conscious entities that contribute to the community's well-being. This worldview is reflected in their ceremonies and daily practices. Yeah, and again, Braiding Sweetgrass, she does go into this. I can't remember if she's Haudenosaunee or if she just lives somewhere where there's a Haudenosaunee tribe. It's one or the other.
I don't know. There's no index. People not do indexes anymore?
Oh, let me see. I absolutely read this. She was living in, I think it was upstate New York. That's probably in the first chapter.
The Wonderfuls.
It's beautiful up there, yeah.
Wonderful New York.
This is Robin Wall Kimmerer.
Lakes. New York. So she's a Yankees fan.
I don't know. She might not care about.
She probably does.
Okay, she is from the Potawatomi Nation. But her work often engages with the Haudenosaunee traditions and knowledge. Yeah, okay. So she's Potawatomi, but I believe where she was living, I think it was in upstate New York, she knew a lot of Haudenosaunee people. So, but yeah, again, really good book. Read that book. I'm still reading it. I think I'm about halfway through. Yeah, about halfway through. It's so good. Okay. Let's see. We also have the Shipibo, Canibo, and Ashaninka for Peruvian Amazon. The Amazonian tribes engage in ceremonies involving ayahuasca, a sacred plant medicine believed to facilitate communication with plant spirits. Through these rituals, practitioners seek guidance, healing, and knowledge, viewing plants as teachers and allies on their spiritual journeys. Yeah. Which, again, I think this is a good segue, too, to go into our perception episode where we talk about synesthesia, and we'll talk about like neurons and synapses.
You love synesthesia.
Yeah, well, I have it, so it's an interesting topic for me, but we'll go into that. But things like ayahuasca or psychedelics open the mind up in terms of creating new synapses and connecting the neurons for you to have increased experience, expanded consciousness.
Kind of seems like a fast lane.
Kind of, yeah. But a lot of people believe you can induce those states naturally without any plants through certain breathing techniques.
It takes a little bit more time.
No, not even.
No?
It's more about dedication. Like if you really are dedicated to having the experience, you can do certain breathing techniques to get yourself into that space, which people believe triggers DMT because our brains do create a certain kind of DMT. It's not like what if a person says they do that, oh, I did DMT. I don't believe it's the same kind, but there's a form of it that the brain creates. Okay. And so certain things like meditation and breathing exercises can stimulate the brain to create more, which they think, again, opens up, creates more synapses. Then when you stop the practice, it'll kind of go back down. But we'll get to there. That's a different episode. Okay. We have Canela, Brazil. The Canela people perceive cultivated plants as plant people or crop children, each with distinct personalities and needs. Shamans communicate with these beings to ensure the health of gardens and the success of harvest, highlighting a reciprocal relationship grounded in care and mutual respect. We have the Mysing tribes of Assam, India. The Mysing community integrates plants into their spiritual and cultural practices, believing that certain deities reside within trees. Rituals and taboos associated with these beliefs serve to protect and preserve the surrounding vegetation, reflecting a deep reverence for plant life. They have the Anishinaabe, North America. The Anishinaabe people view plants as relatives and teachers, emphasizing interdependence and responsibility. Their traditions involve tobacco and other sacred plants and ceremonies, acknowledging the agency and wisdom of plant beings. So this is common across indigenous cultures. I've been looking into Druidry a lot, the ancient Celts and pagans, and they absolutely believed in animism and had a very strong relationship to trees especially, but all plants. I know, I think it's the ash tree is a very big Celtic symbol. And they also had a really strong connection to bees, which is something I'm learning about, which is very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, they believe them to be...
Bee.
No. Psychopomps.
You need a whole episode on that.
On psychopomps? I know.
Man, you just dump info.
I know. I love it, though. I love this stuff. It's so interesting, and I love how it all connects into one another, which is very animistic.
We'll be like trying to watch something on Netflix at like 9:30 at night, and she's like, "Did you know? Did you know this?" And I'm like,
"This is why we have a podcast."
I just want to watch a movie.
I know. I forced him to think critically. He's very upset about it.
Very upset. What else we got?
That's kind of it for now. Other than I know.
That's it?
Well, we're already at an hour. I know. We can do a part 2.
When are we gonna do the Nessie episode?
Again, you have to earn it. Why don't you offer something of value to this episode?
What do you mean?
Okay, what I'll say when it comes to the indigenous cultures, again, we have another example of all of these indigenous cultures who supposedly don't have any affiliations with each other and who've had these practices for their entire histories.
Right.
Okay. Again, all have really similar beliefs about plants and plant consciousness and anecdotes of having kinship with them, working with them, communicating with them. I personally, again, I believed this before. I still believe this now. This didn't change anything about what I believed when it comes to plants. I do believe they're alive. I think you should talk to your plants. I think you should meditate with your plants. I think you should see what your plants are trying to tell you. All plants, all around you. I think they're incredibly fascinating. I also think something I've noticed a lot growing up in a Western society, what we're told about plants seems to be pretty backwards to what's actually going on. Especially how we're told to garden. I've noticed this. I had gotten a foraging book, and I wanted to learn, like, how were people eating before we had modern farming and grocery stores? Like, what were they doing really? And they would forage. They would go out and they would find plants. They would eat them. They'd collect stuff, and they had very specific practices. Indigenous people still do this today. And they knew what plants were native, what plants were invasive. Of course, there's a lot more invasive plants today because people brought plants over from Europe that weren't supposed to be here, things like that. They take over, they destroy other native plants. And that will contribute to environmental issues. Like a place being warmer than it should be. Well, the native plants were helping to cool it down. And then we have, like, a lot of the grasses, they're really shallow, so they're not holding as much water in the ground, where if you have native plants, usually native grasses to certain locations, the roots will be so much longer, and so they can pull water down into the ground and hold it there, which reduces flooding. And it does cool it down. The ground will be a little bit cooler, so especially if you're in a hot climate, right? If you don't have native plants, if you have invasive plants, the root systems kind of aren't acclimated to the area, you will see it getting hotter. Right? Or how many places, like inner cities, there's not enough plants at all, and it's so hot. It can be unbearably hot. Or even just a few trees could cool it down. There's just, like, so many things, but the way we're told to garden, we're really separated from nature. We're told, like, don't eat anything outside. And so when I got this foraging book, I started noticing all the edible plants that grow naturally around me in my neighborhood have been marked as weeds. And people spray chemicals on them to kill them. And I'm looking through the book and I'm like, edible, 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 edible. Not just edible, but loaded with nutrients.
One of them's like Tylenol.
And they're medicine. Yeah, you have to be careful. You wouldn't want to just go out and, because there's one plant that works as like a natural antihistamine and a natural anti-inflammatory. And you could just dry out like one leaf, put it in some tea, and it's like you took a small dose of Tylenol, like a children's Tylenol, basically. So if you can overdo that. But people tend to talk about it as if it's so dangerous, you have to be careful. Sure, you do have to be careful because one leaf could be a little bit stronger than another leaf, so you do have to be mindful. But you will overdose on Tylenol a lot easier than you would overdose on the plant in your backyard. Likely. I'm still not saying go out and eat the plants in your backyard. Research and maybe get a book on foraging if you want to do it. But I've started doing that. And what else did we notice? Something someone had told me too, because I've been researching different indigenous cultures around the world and what they say about plants. One of the things that many indigenous cultures have in common
is a rhetorical question.
Is they say that the ground around you is tuning into you and is aware of what you need more than you might be. And to pay attention to the plants that start growing around your home because they probably have medicinal properties that you really need. So it's like, interesting.
That's also kind of pompous, though. I mean, what about the raccoon living in the trash? What about the, birds that are out in the front yard? What about them?
You're assuming that doesn't include them. It does include them. It's whatever's living there. So the plants growing around, based on this theory, the plants growing around our house, there's something that potentially all of us, including the animals, might need. But I started looking at, what are they? We'll see.
Right.
Let's see. It's anecdotal again. This is just like my one-off experiment here. But I did check. I found all of the plants that were growing wild. And the majority of the plants that are growing around our house right now offer support for the liver, kidneys, and they are anti-inflammatory. My top issues for my health are my liver, my kidneys, and inflammation. I have a thyroid disorder, which is hurting my thyroid and my liver, and then I have a kidney disease. And my number one complaint on a daily basis is inflammation. and all of the weeds growing around my house, that is the way that they've been used as medicine by the local native tribes for always. I'm like, that's interesting. That's interesting. So I can't disprove it. I can't prove it, but that's interesting. So I've started to forage them. I'm starting to add them to my teas and meals. Also, they're keeping away pests, like bugs. Like we have a garden, and we had these green weeds that Rob was like, oh, we got to pull these. They look terrible. I'm like, no, wait, I'm not pulling anything. I found out that they're called storksbill.
Storksbill, yeah.
Storksbill. They smell and kind of look like a parsley, and they have these cute little purple flowers. They keep away garden pests. There's lots of bugs that would get into like our tomatoes, and we have cucumbers growing. These just started naturally growing all around the base of our bed, our garden bed. We don't have any bugs. We also have people come and spray. It's like a non-toxic spray, but it's like scents that keep away spiders. They hadn't come yet. And I'm like, this time last year, we had a ton of spiders. No spiders. No spiders. And there's been several hot days.
There have been quite a bit hot days.
Like, we should have spiders. No spiders. And the only difference between this year and last year is last year we pulled weeds. This year, I let them all grow. I don't think the neighbors are too happy with it.
No, neighbors are like,
Well, we're not. We're pulling some in the front. So we have an HOA. But the back, I'm just letting it. I'm like, I want to see what grows. I'm not going to take anything out until I know what it's doing. And a lot of it is helping us in a lot of ways. So it doesn't look like that picture perfect curated lawn that we've been conditioned to want to have. But it's so functional. I'm like, I want to keep it. So it's just something to note that the more I learn about plants, the more I'm like, everything I've been taught is backwards.
Do you want to let Jack in?
Jack is here.
Jack's coming back.
Come on, Jack. That's a good way to end the episode. Oh my gosh, I almost fell over. Come on. Come on, Jack. Come on. Come say hi. We got to say goodbye. Come on. Come here.
He's very wordy today. Here he comes. Oh, he's coming to me. Oh, okay.
I stole him. Say hi, Jack.
Oh.
What do you have to say? Nope.
He's like, nope.
Jack, I want Dad.
Oh.
I almost broke everything.
Everything.
Okay.
So I'm convinced.
Do you legitimately feel more convinced now? Because like I've talked to you about this stuff a lot in the past.
Honestly, I just feel like I heard it again for the 200th time, but I believe it.
You think they're conscious?
I believe it.
Yeah. We didn't do this.
We'll get it on the second
It's going to be a bonus episode for members. If you want to hear the plant wave, I will do a bonus episode where I hook my plant up and it's going to play some songs for us. So if you want to hear that, you want to learn about how that works, then become a member and you will get that content. Mm-hmm. Plus other bonus content. It's something I'm going to be doing regularly, special content just for members. And of course, you get other perks. You get to request special topics. We'll make a video just for you. And we'll probably add on other perks as we have more members. For now, that's what we're doing. But yeah, if you have ideas, let us know. Okay.
So next episode is
synesthesia and perception.
Synesthesia and perception. All right, you win again for the 8th week in a row.
I'm the one doing all the editing, showing up with the content. So you want Nessie, put the work in.
I put a lot of work in some of these. So
one of them you did.
Well, you have a nice blooper reel. I mean, Sammy, almost ruined the lamp we have. Oh, and she got a new nose ring if anyone cares or
I have a hoop.
Notice.
It's a little sore. Transitioning it out for the first time is making it a little sore, so it might be red. But it's okay, though.
Yeah. Did I just squeak?
I think you did.
Oh, my God.
You should have blamed it on Jack.
Oh, my God. What was that? Am I okay?
I don't know.
Too many weeds.
Sure,
Too
maybe
much
you need
weed
them.
consumption.
I bet if we looked it up, there's probably a new weed growing out there. We're gonna search it. Indigenous people have been using this for squeaky man voice.
For squeaky man voice. Okay, time to go.
Essentially.
Time to go. Time to
It's
go.
the stork spill.
We will see you later, and thanks for coming on.
Listening.
Could you believe it or not?
No. Oh my! You do know what this podcast is called?
Could you believe it now? With Rob
and Sammy,
starring Rob.
Oh my gosh!
I'm your host, Rob.
We need to go.
We gotta go.
Bye.
See ya. Because they're more confident, maybe, about
Well, usually
having the right answer.
They're smart because they're paying attention in class. And what's the dumb kid doing? Oh, look at that. They're not paying attention.
That's an assumption.
Did you not have that kid? Was that...
They could be like, I'm never going to use this, and they're right. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm not going to use this. Why would I do freaking pre-calc right now? I'm not going to use that.
Rob, were you the dumb kid?
I wasn't the dumb kid. I wasn't the dumb kid.